So we're gonna look at finding equation of a quadratic in factored form using either a graph or given information. Okay? So the question is, I need to find an equation in factored form. Okay? So what is the factored form? What's the general form of the factored form? Factored form, your general form is y equals a x minus r x minus s, where r and s are your zeros. Okay? So what I need to know the two zeros, or the zeros could be 1 0. Okay? I need to know the zeros, and I also need to know another point so I can solve for a. Right? Like we did in the vertex form. Right? With the vertex form, I needed to know the vertex and another point. In this case, I need to know the zeros and another point. So let's look at the steps. What are my zeros here? Negative 3 and 1. So these are my zeros, right? So these are going to replace the R and the S in the formula. Okay? So they're going to replace R and S in the formula. So that means I have y equals a x. Now I have a minus and minus 3. Do you guys see that? Eyes on me. So you see that minus that comes from the equation because it's x minus r, right? So that minus comes from the equation. And then you have the other x, the x value, which is negative 3. So what happens when I have two negatives right after each other?
Positive.
It becomes a positive. So we'll rewrite that. And then I have x minus, and what's my other 0? 1. Just 1 second. So that will be y equals a x plus 3 x minus 1. Yes?
Does it matter if like the negative 3
No.
and then if it's one switch?
No. So if you write x minus 1, x plus 3, it doesn't matter. Are we okay with this? Now if you look at this equation, what are your zeros? If you look at this equation, what are your zeros? Can you tell me? What are your zeros?
3 and negative 3 and positive.
Negative 3 and positive 1. Remember, we talked about that when we setting equal to 0, right? When we are setting it equal to 0, don't write this. Right? Bring the 3 over, it becomes a negative 3, right? Yeah? Now, what else am I looking for? What else am I looking for? Is this my final equation, or am I looking for something else? I have to find the a value, right? In order to find the a value, I need to find another point on the graph, plug it in for x and y. Okay? So, another point on the graph, it could be any point other than your zeros. Pick a clear point. Okay? So if you look here, I have a clear point which is 0, 6. Okay? So I can put this in for x and y to solve for a. So y is 6, x is 0. Could I pick any other point that's clear on the graph? Yes. Any other point that's clear on the graph, I can pick it as long as it's not the x-intercept. And then I'm going to solve for a. So this is going to be a times 3 times negative 1. So 6 equals to negative 3a, because I have 3 times negative 1, that's negative 3a. And then I'm going to divide by negative 3. So a equals negative 2. I found my a value. So now I can plug it in the formula, and that is my factored form. Almost the same steps as the ones with the vertex form, except in this case, I need the zeros. I need my x-intercept for me to be able to solve this.
Is that a -3?
No, it's a plus 3.
No, that you're dividing by.
Yes, I'm dividing by -3. Are we okay with this? Locate the two zeros, plug them in for R and S, find another point to plug it in for X and Y, and solve for A. Does it make sense that my A value is negative? Does it make sense that my A value is negative? Why? Open down.